back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my frequently asked questions, which is, why are my coasters so soft and malleable? So here's an example. This coaster's really soft, really bendy. So a lot of people will ask me this question. The number one answer, which I think fixes the problem most of the time, is the fact that the coaster hasn't cured long enough. So these are both made with art resin. This one is also quite thin, but it doesn't bend at all. Perfectly hard. This one I poured 24 hours ago. This one I poured weeks ago. So typically, if your coaster is too soft, it just means you need to give it a little bit of extra time to cure, especially if it's a thinner coaster or a thinner mold that you're working with. I find that art resin typically takes about 3 full days to cure completely when it's this thin. Even though it does say 24 hours, it should be cured. I find it takes up to 3 days, sometimes even up to 4 days. So if it is only about 24 hours after you pour the resin and you're finding it still quite soft, I would suggest just leaving it. It's okay if it's outside of the mold. You can just leave it on a desk, let it sit for another day or two, and then check on it again, and hopefully it will be solid like this one. The other thing that it could be is that you've poured your coaster too thin. Now, this one is super thin, and you can see that this side is thick and this side is thin because the surface wasn't level when I was pouring. So this is one that I won't be selling, but that can be another reason why your coaster is too soft, because you've poured it too thin. And it can still harden. I'm not saying throw it out. I would say still wait until the 3rd or 4th day to see, but sometimes it might not fully harden because of that, because it's too thin. The third thing that it could be is that you didn't mix 50% resin and 50% hardener exactly. If you're just using a measuring cup and you're just quickly pouring the measurements and you're not making sure it's exact, then your resin can end up curing improperly, and that can cause it to be soft and for it to never harden. Now that happened to me probably 2 times, and I've made hundreds and hundreds of coasters, but probably about 2 times my coasters never hardened. They stayed this soft forever. I had them for months and they were always this soft, and that was either because I didn't mix the resin and hardener exactly, or number 4, it can also happen if you put too much pigment or paint into your resin. So that was the other reason that my coasters did not ever harden. So what you want to do when you're mixing pigment into your resin is you want to mix no more than a maximum of 10% color to resin. Now, I would suggest sticking lower to the 3 to 5% range rather than 10%. 10% is absolute maximum, but I definitely would suggest closer to 3 to 5 milliliters maximum. So what that means is if you have 100 milliliters of resin, you should be mixing no more than 3 to 5 milliliters of paint or pigment in there. So those are 4 different reasons that your coasters might be soft and malleable. If you have any questions or you have any comments or any experience with this, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe. I do post new videos with tips on resin, art, and running a small business, and I post videos every single week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you next time.